Hey everybody! I'm here today to tell you that every driver should have these 7 things in their car. I'll be going over 7 specific things that I believe that every driver should have in their car. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. Number 1 on the list is a set of jumper cables. Now, jumper cables are extremely useful if your car battery dies, because you can use the jumper cables to basically boost your car's battery using a car that has a battery that is working. You can basically borrow power from the working battery to send it to your car's dead battery. Now, in addition to having the set of jumper cables, you should know how to properly use them. So basically, you need to have jumper cables because if your car's battery dies, you have 2 choices. You can wait for a roadside assistance service, and sometimes those things can take like 3-4 hours, especially if it's in the winter time. And I'm a huge fan of them, but you do have to wait for them. Or you can have jumper cables and you can boost your battery using a friend or family member that you've called that maybe lives nearby. Number 2 on this list is a snow brush. Now, obviously, this is only if you live somewhere where it snows. If you live somewhere where it doesn't snow, you don't need a snow brush. But I live in Toronto, in Ontario, in Canada. I live in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and it snows a lot here in the winter. So you really need a snow brush to sort of brush off your car. Okay. Number 3 on this list is washer fluid. Now, here's the thing. Most people don't think that washer fluid is that important. If their washer fluid light comes on and then they run out of washer fluid, they just don't think it's a big deal, and then they'll fill it eventually. But that's not the best thing to do, and I'll tell you why. Let's say you're driving and you've run out of washer fluid and something splashes on your car, and you put on, let's say it's muddy water that splashes onto your windshield. You turn on your wipers and all of a sudden you can't see anything on the road. Boom! An accident occurs. That can easily cause an accident. That's why I believe it's important to always have a nice full or almost full container of washer fluid in your trunk, just because if you run out of washer fluid, all that you got to do is take that, refill it. It takes like 30 seconds on the side of the road or in a parking lot, and you're good to go. And it could potentially save you from getting into an accident. Number 4 on this list is a phone charging cable. Let me get mine out right here. This is unbelievably important. I'll tell you why. I always keep my phone pretty much fully charged, simply because if in case of an emergency, I know that I have a charged phone. My phone battery can last like a couple of days if I use it lightly, and then having this ensures that it's always charged. In addition to not missing a call or a text message or anything like that, or if you run a business from your phone, sort of like I do, not worrying about your phone battery dying, in case of an emergency, you're going to have a charged phone, right? And in case you get stranded, you can keep charging your phone as long as your car runs, or even as long as your car battery works. So you can get these things for like super cheap, and they just plug into the accessory socket of your car, just like that. You plug this end into your phone and you're good to go. Number 5 on this list is a dash camera. Now, I'm a huge advocate of using a dash camera when you drive all the time, and I'll tell you why. It's very important because it is so easy to get framed for an accident or get scammed for an accident, right? You're sitting at a red light. The person in front of you can literally put their car in reverse and reverse into you, okay? And then they can say you rear-ended them. And it's your word against theirs. And who's more likely, like when you think about it, right? You saying they reverse into you versus you rear-ending them, what is more likely to actually happen? The rear-ending. So it's not in your favor. But if you have a dash camera, there's your proof right there. Not only will you win, but then you can take legal action potentially against them, right? It's very simple. Have a dash camera, always let it record when you drive, and when you're parking your car, take your dash camera and hide it away, because if it's just sitting right there, then that's like a, hey, break into my car, check this thing out, right? You don't want that temptation for thieves to just break into your car and steal something, okay? It's no different than leaving change in your center console. It's just something that you generally don't do if you want your car to not get broken into. Number 6 on this list is an emergency kit for cars with first aid stuff. Now, an emergency kit, you can purchase them You know, they're going to have some first aid items. Most likely they're going to have pylons, maybe a flare, maybe a set of jumper cables. But the jumper cables that they include generally aren't that great. I would recommend getting your own dedicated set of jumper cables, even if your emergency kit comes with them, because they're generally like thin wired and they're just not good. But basically an emergency kit will have everything that you need. You can, on the other hand, make your own emergency kit, which is what I recommend, because then number one, it'll probably be a little bit cheaper, but number two, you can get better stuff. Even if it costs you the same amount as a prefabricated one, you can get better stuff and more stuff that you need. Okay, last but not least on this list is number 7. And I say last but not least because it's definitely not least. It's very important, but not many people have one. And that is an emergency car multi-tool. Now, you can get a wide variety of different multi-tools, but generally speaking, I want to see 2 things in your multi-tool. I want to see a seatbelt cutter, which means that in case of an emergency, if your seatbelt won't come out and you need to get yourself out of that car, let's say your car goes into water and your seatbelt won't come out and you need to get yourself out, it gives you the ability to cut the seatbelt. And also a car window breaker. So basically, let's say once again, your car goes in the water and all of a sudden you can't roll your window down and you need to get out of the car. This thing will have a part that can smash through the window in case of an emergency. It's not supposed to be used for anything bad, but in case of an emergency, if you need to use it, keep in your glove compartment, boom, cut your seatbelt, out the window, good to go. And I always recommend that people have this because you won't know you're in an emergency until it is an emergency. It's literally the definition of an emergency. You don't know you're in it until you're in it. So just get one of those things. Very, very useful. You can purchase them for a very inexpensive price on Amazon and anywhere pretty much. Make sure you have one of those. And that's it. In this video, I've gone over 7 things that every single driver should have in their car. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down below as a comment. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more great car and driving videos just like this one. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.